Okay, so let me show you how I use Tripo AI and Google Gemini to create very good 3D models. They're not perfect. There are always errors here and there, but I do know how to use Blender and I do know how to sculpt in Blender, so I can correct the errors. Sometimes you absolutely do not have to do any corrections. Sometimes the AI just reads the image perfectly. Of course, it took me about 2 months to train Gemini in one of the conversations on how to create a specific style of images that actually look like 3D renders. And that is making it way easier for Tripo AI to actually read them and create the models, right? Sometimes both of them fails, sometimes both of them surprise you and impress you, but it's a long process. If people think this is just 2 clicks or you type in 3 words and it's resolved, it's not. It generally takes hours of work until you can get one model that is usable, and most of the time you gotta fix something about it. But sometimes you do get miracles. This one here is actually quite good. It's quite good. There are a few issues. There's a piece of some extra material here that was generated. I don't know what the AI saw there. There's nothing there. I don't know why it generated that. It's probably some type of symmetry or something that it's trying to compensate for there. I don't know why that's there. But overall, the tail looks fine. The equipment looks all right. There's one issue here with the hand, but the hand is hidden there, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need any correcting. The eyes are almost symmetrical and proportional, so there is a slight issue here. This one's a bit lower, but overall it reads all right. Yeah, I think this one's good. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna say good female just style club, so I can't remember what it is, and I always save them as STLs. And while that is doing its thing, we're gonna pop back into Gemini. This was the source image. Initially it created for me this one. I thought that the details on this one are even higher, so it's a lot more difficult for Tripo AI to actually read this. Although AIs like ChatGPT, Gemini, Midjourney, they can read an image and they can understand what's in the image based on the data. They can recognize elements in the image. Tripo AI doesn't seem to be able to do that. It doesn't even understand where there are hands or stuff like this. It doesn't know. It only sees the volumes and it recreates the volumes in 3D, right? That's what it does. It doesn't know what it's making. That's part of the problem with it. That's why it's progressing slowly. That's why it creates so many errors, and sometimes it messes up the hands and stuff like that, because it doesn't understand what it's looking at. It's just creating volumes, right? It's recreating the shapes that it can see. So that's a bit of an issue. Let's see. Let's try and generate a male this time, dual wielding axes, and we'll take it from there. So here is where Gemini is telling you what it's actually doing based on the instruction that it has been fed over about 2 months. Yeah, doesn't look bad. The tail's a bit cartoony. The face doesn't really match a lizard person. Okay. The head is more of a humanoid. What I asked you. Because it looks way too humanoid here. I mean, this is a good model. Right, the AI would be able to read this. It's very clean and easily readable. I'm gonna save the image. That's a bit better. It's a bit better. Okay, let's see how this one is viewed by the AI. And you can see the settings here. I'm on one click. I'm on ultra. I've deactivated the HD texture because it's useless for the purpose of what I'm creating. I'm creating models that are to be 3D printed. They are probably going to be the good STLs and the ones that I'm going to put in Blender and clean them up and stuff like that. They're going to end up on my Etsy. So if you want to buy and print some of these models and use them, and that will be an option very soon. There's going to be a link in the description. I will be printing and painting some of these myself because I'm making them for myself, for my own entertainment. But I thought, you know what, all of these AIs and all of these platforms and systems do cost a lot of money. So if I can make a little bit of money back so that I can actually make this go further, right? So sustain the channel and so on. That's what I'm going to do. They're not going to be expensive. They're going to be cheap. So everybody can afford to buy the models and print them at home or somewhere else. Pretty soon I'll put printing services on my Etsy as well. So I'll be able to do that for you as well if you want to print something. I do have both FDM and resin capabilities at this time. That's because I'm interested in creating some terrain as well, not just the miniatures. Like some buildings to go with all of these warriors, for example, some, I don't know, Aztec-like ruins and some pyramids and stuff, so that in the future I can print some on FDM and sell them on Etsy as well. But I'm also willing to show you this, teach you this. I'll probably make a more in-depth video about how you can explain to your, you know, text-to-image AI that you're using. This one has the capabilities of text-to-image as well, but it's not really what I like. I don't know if Midjourney is good to create this type of images. I don't have Midjourney anymore. I've given it up because it was distracting and a waste of time for me. But between Google Gemini and ChatGPT, which I have both of them, I would say Gemini is better at creating these images. It also has the capacity to fix some of the images for you. I think it's using that function that the phones have, because I also have a Google phone. Right, so where you can edit things in photos and stuff. I think it's using that to re-render the image literally and delete certain things if you want to do that. But most of the time, this one, the way I trained it, it will just generate another image. It will change the pose and so on, because the instructions that I've given it, when I tell it that this is not readable, that's not sufficient enough and whatever, it tries to repose it, and by, I don't know, the way the code works, it generates something else. So I'm fine with it. It's not an issue. I have found that it is very difficult to generate multiple characters and then have Tripo AI read that exactly, because it doesn't know what it's looking at. So going single character one by one, it's always best. And yeah, this is the process. This is what I'm doing. It takes time, it takes patience. It's a trial and error system. It's an experiment that's ongoing. And with time, eventually, these AIs will get better and better. I don't think it takes anything away from people that can work in Blender and create these things. It only gives, if you're smart enough to understand that it's a tool. So you can use it to create models, and then you can pop the models into Blender and perfect them. It will most definitely get to the point at which it will be faster and better for people that are 3D artists to use this as a tool. It will be way better because you can generate 50 characters in the time it took you to make one, right? And at the way that these AIs are progressing, it would be stupid not to use them, right? It would be stupid not to use the tools. That's what they are, the tools. They're not perfect, but slowly we can perfect them, right? Let's see, it's almost done. It still generates some textures, and I remove them. This is the button where you remove the texture to see the actual 3D model. Yeah, I'm impressed by the way it generates the headdresses. I was really concerned with the feathers, but I went with it because I really like this style. I don't have any lizard men in my collections, bought or printed. So, for example, this model is actually quite good, really sharp. There's always a bit of an issue here, and I'll show you in a second. Where you have sharp claws, this AI always generates like these tubes. This is easily fixable in Blender. You can sculpt them back, you can soften the whole thing, you can do a lot of things to modify it, right? You have a lot of tools to edit this, it's not an issue. On the hand, that one looks decent enough, and there's a bit of an issue there with that finger, but otherwise it's okay. Plus it's on the inside, so it doesn't really matter. The face looks good, the eyes look right, and they are focused. The vision is centered through there. It looks very good, very good. The back's not bad. It added some extra details that you can't see, but it's rendering them nicely. The belt looks all right. Yeah, I would call this a successful model. The axes look all right. They look sharp enough but primitive enough to fit the character. Yeah, I would say this one is an absolute success. With a little bit of refinement on these nails here, everything would be perfect. There you go. You can actually generate exceptional models with the AI as long as you know how to make these images. You gotta keep them in the grayscale. You gotta make the images look like renders, and trust me, I've tried with color images, I've tried with all sorts of other images, I've tried with hand-drawn styles, sketch styles, comic book style, I've tried all of them. This one seems to be the best. I haven't seen people make tutorials about this. They are probably unaware of how it works, so, or maybe they didn't get to this level at which they can actually generate good models. I don't know what the reason is, but you'll get them from me. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, you don't miss out. At least once a week I'm probably going to stream. I haven't decided when. It's probably going to be on a Friday night. I'm going to stream how I create these things, and I think the models that I'll be making during the stream will go onto my Google Drive, and they will be accessible to people that are members of the channel, because you know, it's a good way of giving back to people that are interested in building a community around this. I don't think AI, I don't think it's a problem for artists. I'm an artist. I sculpt by hand, I sculpt in Blender, I have made my own models and a lot of other stuff. I have a flexible dragon I've made myself. I have eggs for dragons that can be opened and you can put the dragons in. I made myself. And let me tell you that it takes forever. It takes forever to make those things. With this kind of a tool, I can make that way faster. I can tell it exactly what my vision is. I can guide it step by step, and I can create that model a lot faster and with a lot less hassle. While it's generating or creating the image or whatever it's doing, rendering stuff, I can go cook things, I can take care of my kids, I can go take my daughter to the school, bring her back, I can go out for a walk with them, I can do a lot of other things in the meantime. While the 3D printers are running and printing stuff, I can do other things. These are tools designed to make our lives easier going forward, and we should use them, we should embrace it. Maybe the AIs were trained on actual art, which some people will consider to be an issue, but think about how humans learn. You learn exactly the same way. Skill is not actually learned, it's stolen. Good skills are always stolen. You understand? You steal from others by watching them, by understanding what they're doing and perfecting those processes. That's how we progress. That's how we've always progressed. This isn't anything different. But again, this is not a philosophical discussion. You can think whatever you want, put in the comments, it doesn't really matter for me. Okay, for me, this is a design that I have asked the AI to create. I didn't take it from anyone else, and it did not take it from anyone else. I've explained in detail what I want over multiple renditions, and that's how the AI now just understands. When I tell it, make me a mail with dual wielding axes, it already knows what I need. It needs to be in grayscale, it needs to look like a render, it needs to have Aztec influences, it needs to have this and that and this and that. Okay, so it takes a long time. But eventually you get here and you create stuff like this, which I think it's, other than the nails there, which don't really matter, I can still print this in resin. This will print without any issues. I can print this and I can get it on a tabletop in 24 hours, which is absolutely marvelous from design. And you can start with your own sketches. You can make your own sketches, upload them into AI, generate a better image from your sketch, and then use that image. You have so many options. It's just a tool. Treat it as is. Anyway, don't forget to hit that subscribe, like if you do, and let me know if you want to see more tutorials, if you want to see those live streams that I'm talking about where I create models. What would you like to see created? Because I've done a lot of things. I've done rat folk, rabbit folk, foxes. I've done everything that you can possibly imagine. I've already tested and tried out. I've made cat witches, so many other things. And I think slowly it is getting close to perfection. So yeah, that's my process. That's what I use. That's what I found to work best. If you want to know more, just let me know in the comments. I think that's it for this one. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next ones. Have a nice day.